Rams fans, welcome in on this edition of Rams Showcase. The 2025 Rams defense might just be one of the best ever. Plus, injuries hit the offensive line. What is the plan? And later, another AFC opponent to start the season. We preview Rams at Titans. Let's rock.
We here, man. We gotta take advantage of victory on one. Let's go.
This is Rams Showcase. And now your host, Sheriff Joe Baggs.
Yes, welcome to it, Rams Showcase. My name is Sheriff Joe Baggs. Thank you to Summer Justice for the intro help there. Incredible radio DJ out here in Colorado Springs, 94.3 Kilo X1039. So thank you for the help there. Socials will be in the description wherever you can hear or see me. So be sure to give a follow. Summer Justice, absolutely awesome. Somebody I have honestly just incredible amounts of respect for. Give a follow. Absolutely good stuff. Getting into the business, though, of course, at Rams Showcase, at Sheriff Joe Baggs. That's where you can follow along on socials, ramshowcase.com as well. You can also catch me live 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, 7 a.m. LA time. That is on the Rams Showcase Facebook page, as well as the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel. There's also audio version out, available wherever you hear podcasts, so be sure to go check that out as well. Links will be in the description, so you can check us on out. We're talking Rams football all the time. Mondays are more of a look back at the previous game that we just had. Obviously, TNF here in a few weeks is going to screw that up, but that's a-okay. And then Wednesday, more of a turn of the tides here as we look forward to the next week. So that was actually the Wednesday show. This is being recorded on Wednesday, every Wednesday all year long. And the Wednesday shows, we kind of start turning that a little bit just towards the upcoming opponent. So we had some Titans talk this morning, and on Friday morning, we'll get into a full game preview. So what to watch for, score predictions, all that business. So make sure you follow the Tuna and the Sheriff podcast that is now, again, like I said, live 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday mornings, 7 a.m. That is LA time. So be sure to check it on out there. Also, as I think that's it. Actually, let's just go ahead and get into it, all right? No more messing around. The Rams defense coming out week 1 looking absolutely incredible, all right? Not giving up a touchdown to what's really a good team, all right? I think, in fairness, before I talk about the Rams defense, I think that Rams fans, maybe not everybody's giving enough credit to the Houston Texans defense. That's a really good unit. They have really good pass rushers. They've got really good corners. I don't know, man. Maybe, I know that the Rams offense definitely had some moments where you're like, we were a little bit better than that. But you know what? That's a really good team that we played against and came away with the win, which I think is the most important part. I don't care how many points you score as long as it's more than those guys. You know what I mean? So, yeah, 14 is not exactly where we anticipate this Rams high-powered offense slotting in most of the year. But defense gave up 9. I kind of said that earlier in the year, right? Earlier in the offseason. The worst-case scenario, if we need a Jimmy Garoppolo or a Stetson Bennett to come in and get some QB action, score 17. That shouldn't be that difficult with these weapons and stuff, and the defense should be able to do their job, which against a Texans team, man, I think that as the season goes on, we're going to look back at the week 1 game and be like, yeah, the Rams did a really good job in that one. I think we played great, but the Rams defense holding the Texans offense to just 3 field goals, absolutely love to see it. Giving up just 9 points, no touchdowns in this one, which is absolutely incredible. And if we look back all the way to last season, we're looking at the regular season games, and then the games, of course, that the Rams had starters for. So if we look back at these last games, so obviously this last Sunday, 9 points against the Houston Texans. Week 18 was no starters. That was against the 49ers. We had already clinched the division, so not a lot of action to get into there. Before that, though, 9 points against the Cardinals. Before that, 9 points against the Jets. They had Rodgers, who was playing really well at the time, and Devontae Adams. Before that, 6 points against the 49ers. And then, of course, before that was the absolutely wild game against the Buffalo Bills. But Bills' offense went into the fourth quarter with just 21 points, so another thing to be considered there. 9 points given up to the Minnesota Vikings in the playoffs. Of course, the Eagles did put up 28, but the Rams had 7 sacks, 128 passing yards. The ground attack was, of course, the issue there. So overall, the Rams defense still played really, really good football. And it looks like the ground attack was an issue last year. Obviously, we saw that when with the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. there's a few plays in that game that you can kind of look back and say, like, that's what ruined it for us. You can definitely look at the final 2 plays where Bo Limmer didn't get Jalen Carter. You can look back to the Kyron Williams fumble, but also that Saquon explosion run where he just went off. So certainly something to look at there. But at least improved from last season, man. I saw Nate Landman flying around out there. NFC Defensive Player of the Week. Gotta love that for a dude's first time. Captain Patch. He comes over to a new team, earns the Captain Patch, earns the green dot. Week 1 seals the game and wins NFC Player of the Week. Absolutely love to see it, dude. There's not enough good things to say right now about Nate Landman. I mean, he's riding high right now. We're feeling real good about that addition. I was hammering that table long ago, though. If you are a regular here on Ram Showcase, you know I've been pounding the table on Landman since like June. But like, this is a sick addition. Going back and watching his stuff in Atlanta, it was like, yo, this guy's great, and no one was talking about him. So I'm feeling really good about that one. But overall, that's, like I said, the Rams defense has played so well. And coming into this year, this week, so far we only have the one game to look at. But, I mean, obviously played super, super good football. And in fairness, Texans were down. Joe Mixon, they were out. Their wide receivers, Barrios and Christian Kirk. So there were some weaponry down for the Houston Texans. But honestly, the Rams defense just looked really powerful. I see on that last drive as well, I see a lot of Rams fans that are upset that the Rams were seemingly letting them move it down the field on us. But it also kind of feels like that's where we're good enough to pick our spots. We're good enough defense to kind of let them do what they want to do and then pick our point to attack, which is literally exactly what happened in this game and kind of what I was anticipating. And I don't know, I'm a big feel guy when it comes to football games. I don't know if that sounds insane or not, but it's like looking back at the Thursday night kickoff game, Eagles-Cowboys. Score-wise, pretty close game. But at any point, did it feel like Dallas was going to win that game? Not to me. I don't know. It didn't feel close. It was close score-wise, but it felt like at any point that Philly could just, put it up on them if they needed to, So that's kind of what I'm seeing in this one as well. Like, the Texans, obviously a good team, but it also felt like the Rams were in control of the game most of the time, which obviously is exactly what you need. And again, maybe I'm alone, but it felt like the Rams were just going to be able to close it. And I'm just a big feel guy, And also, I think it's worth it to note that in the Chris Shula defense, kind of similar to the Raheem Morris style defense, it is a little bit bend, don't break. It is a little bit like don't let them beat you. Just don't let them get behind you. Keep everything in front of you and then find your spot to attack. Literally exactly what happened, which is exactly what I've said for a long time, that's kind of how the Rams defense is. Like, our rankings and stuff like that, yards given up and all that may not be at the top of the list, but ability to close out a game when you need a big play, I love this defense's ability to do that. So I'm big on it either way. So rankings will be coming up, but the Rams defense, like I said, they absolutely played incredible. That Chris Shula defense is just keep it in front of you and attack when you can, and that's exactly what closed out the game. So it works best when you can stop teams in the red zone for sure and also not give up big runs. And run defense seems better, no? Nate Landman made a few plays out there where I was like, we haven't had a guy that can make that play in a long time. There was one play, I'm blanking exactly where it is. Of course I'm blanking right now. But there was a run to the left. And the way that the play unfolded, Landman kind of just had a spot and just went for him and got him. And it was like, that was the play where I was like, oh, he's great. Like, he's going to be so perfect for us. And we have no idea yet. We have no idea the kind of abilities and situations that he's going to be able to put the Rams in to close out games. Also, he was on Rams Revealed this week. So sick. Love Rams Revealed. That's one of my favorite things that the Rams put out. Probably just behind the grind. And, yeah, absolutely incredible there. But check it on out. This Rams defense, though, I'm kind of looking as the weeks go on. Obviously, we got a big game against the Tennessee Titans. We'll be talking about them here shortly. And then it's the Philadelphia Eagles. That's on the road. Another early game. So we get 2 early games kind of back-to-back there. And then back at home against the Colts. Then it's back at home still against the Niners. And then we're off to Baltimore and then London. After that, I kind of don't remember anymore, but that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I usually get called out for that at work when they're like, oh, who do the Rams play? It's like, oh, we're in Tennessee, then we're in Philly, home against Indy, home against San Fran, then we're in Baltimore, and then in London against the Jags. They're like, why? Do you know? Just like that. In fairness, though, I do a lot of prep stuff where I kind of just, repetition is going to do it. It's kind of how I'm not trying to compare myself to Sean McVay, all right? I know I'm not that kind of person. But he talks about it, and he's like, the reason I remember all these plays so much is because I see it so many times. Like, I see it live, and I watch the film a billion times. It's really easy to eventually just remember what happened and what the situation was. So, totally get that, and from my standpoint, I relate. Me and Sean McVay, we got a lot in common. Right. Good stuff. Real quick, wanted to talk about some injuries that the Rams saw on the offensive line. Both guards, both Steve Avila as well as Kevin Dotson, are dealing with ankle issues. It does sound like neither has been ruled out for this week, but I'd imagine that the Rams will be very cautious. If they are kind of feeling something, it's very possible we hold them out. I also don't think it's impossible that they are that one or both these guys is active but not starting, where it's like, yeah, he's good enough to go, but let's make sure he's good for Philly. And if something happens along that offensive line, then they can come in and kind of close it out or something like that. I don't think that's impossible, although there is no evidence that that's being talked about. That's just my Joe brain coming up with stuff that I think is realistic when it comes to this Rams team, and especially the way that they're treating injuries seemingly this year. Seems like the Rams are being extremely cautious with injuries. So I do anticipate that carrying into the season, especially we're early enough where it's okay to be cautious with your injuries, and we got a lot of AFC opponents in this first portion of the season. So nothing too crazy there. But again, Sean McVay has not ruled them out so far for the Tennessee Titans game. So we'll see how the week progresses in those injury reports, of course. Bo Limmer certainly was fine. A clear-cut downgrade from either guard. I mean, that's just watching football. You could tell that was a backup in there, which, you know what? Fair. He's a backup. That's totally fine. If he was better than those guys, well, we need to talk about who's starting. You know what I mean? So it's supposed to be a downgrade when you go to a backup. But there was certainly some pressures given up by Limmer. But also Dedich was inactive. So I do anticipate that if either can't go, if one of those guys can't go, I would assume Dedich gets the look. But if both can't go, then I would predict that it would be Dedich as well as Limmer filling in at those guard slots. But also don't rule out a Quessenberry slipping in there to play some guard as well. I honestly, that makes the most sense to me that Dedich would come in and Quessenberry would come in, and that those would be our guards, not Limmer. Limmer is a center, in fairness, but also Dedich, like I said, was inactive. I think, was Quessenberry inactive? Trying to remember all the inactives. That's just such a quick little update right before the game, so nothing crazy there, nothing sticks, you know. That noodle's not done, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that's what we got for the offensive line. Of course, like I said, we'll continue to monitor this as the week goes on. We'll certainly talk about it as well on Tuna and the Sheriff on Friday morning, 7 a.m. First and Tuna Podcast YouTube channel, Ram Showcase Facebook page. We are live. Let's take a look at the rest of the West, what those other three dweebs are up to. So the San Francisco 49ers, they are in first place of the division with a win over Seattle. That was a great game, honestly, really exciting to watch. But they have cut Moody, their kicker, the 49ers have, which is unfortunate because I thought he was doing great, personally. You know, I thought they should have kept him. Arizona Cardinals slip into second place right now. That win over the New Orleans Saints. That is a conference win, something that the Rams do not have. That is why they are ahead of the Rams right now. And Seattle, like I said, lost to the 49ers. They are sitting in fourth place right now as the only team in the division that did not win last week, alone in last place. Kupp didn't do a whole lot. We'll see how the season goes on, though, for him. I know he's still a fan favorite. And, of course, your LA Rams sitting in third place right now with that win over the Texans. AFC win, certainly not a bad thing, but can definitely treat these couple of AFC opponents, especially weeks 1 and 2, kind of as our own little de facto preseason. Obviously, you still want to go in and win these games, and it's real action, but you can kind of start using these games to get your groove in and stuff like that, which is obviously good news. Speaking of getting our groove in, we got the game preview. The Rams taking on the Tennessee Titans for their last trip ever to Nissan Stadium. We'll get that game preview right on the other side of this break. It is Ram Showcase. Welcome back in, Ram Showcase. My name is Sheriff Joe Bags. Week 2 of the 2025 NFL season sees the 1-0 Los Angeles Rams heading to the 0-1 Tennessee Titans. This is at Nissan Stadium, the fourth ever visit for the Rams at Nissan Stadium, and in all likelihood, the final, as their new stadium opens in a few years here. Actually, what is that? 2 years away. I had to look to do that math. That's awesome. It's in 2027. It's very close here. But yeah, Rams at Titans, Nissan Stadium, 10 a.m. Pacific time kickoff. We get this game is going to be on CBS with Ian Eagle as well as J.J. Watt on the sideline. We'll hear from Evan Washburn. Fox gets the double header in this one. So on your screen, you're seeing that the Rams are going to be in the blue zones for this matchup. But this, again, single header for CBS, so that actually does include both the morning games as well as the afternoon games. So snug windows there. Not much you can do about that. I would anticipate, though, that next week in Philly, the Rams get a larger area, especially you could pull out a win in this one, and if the Eagles can beat the Chiefs. Your bettors out there, your Rams are minus 5.5, minus 250 on the money line, and 42.5 is the over-under. Those are FanDuel numbers. Time to get into our pants picks, sweeping the nation. This is the best game of all time. You're welcome to join in. Feel free to comment what your pants picks are. But the Rams are going to be rocking the bone jerseys. It's the bone zone this week. And, well, I mean, a lot of different picks coming in for this one. I am going with the Royal. Peo and Rams House are going with the Soul. And Tuna is going with the bone pants for this one. So we're kind of all over the place. Certainly somebody or two people will be in first and or last place. We'll see what kind of happens. Yeah, so Peo and Rams House picking my favorite combo of Rams uniforms, which is the bone jersey with the Soul pants. Absolutely love that. Big old fan. I'm hoping that the bone is here to stay, but I also understand that it feels like it's going to get phased out. And it's kind of weird to me, the bone uniform. Because the people that like the bone uniform are like, I think it's awesome. Like, I'm one of them. I think it's incredible. I think it's so unique. I think it's really just more creative than anybody else has done in the NFL. I know Arizona kind of took their rivalries uniforms and did that sand color. But it is one of those things where, like, people that like the bone are like, yeah, all the uniforms are cool, but I think a bone is the coolest. And then people that don't like the bone are like, ugh, you like the bone uniforms, you idiot. It's like, all right, dude, it's fine. We're all allowed to like different things. It's fine. Maybe use high voice a little bit. All right. The matchup history. This is the 15th all-time meeting between the Rams and the Titans/Oilers. The Rams do lead the all-time series 8-6. Most recent game between these two came on November 7th of 2021. Great season for the Rams, but ultimately a loss for the Rams against the Titans, 28-16. I do remember this being one of those games being like, it ends, it's just like, we're better than this. What are we doing out here? It worked out in the end, obviously. They don't take away your Super Bowl ring because you lose to the Titans in November, so it's going to be okay. First ever game between these two came on October 7th, 1973. That was a Rams win over the Oilers, 31-26. Versus the Tennessee Titans only, the Rams are 3-4 all-time, with that biggest win being, of course, Super Bowl 34, 23-16 win for the Rams on January 30th of 2000. The Titans have won 3 of the last 4 against the Rams, and this is the 4th ever time the Rams will play at Nissan Stadium. 1-2 versus the Titans at Nissan Stadium, and this is in all likelihood the final. I think it actually is for sure. I'd have to look again at the future opponents, but I'm pretty sure we don't play on the road at the AFC South, even same place finisher, until the new stadium is open. So last time we'll be checking out Nissan Stadium is 2027, just a couple years out for that new stadium. So last week, Tennessee Titans, they come in after a week 1 loss in Denver. They did have the lead 3 separate times, but Denver did score the final 10 points in the game. Broncos were up by 1 from the third quarter to about 7.5 left in the fourth, and then they added that touchdown to kind of close it out. Titans did not score a touchdown. The Rams did not give up a touchdown. So if the Rams can avoid giving up a touchdown here against rookie Cam Ward and the gang, Sorry, I don't know what happened there. All right, so all of a sudden music was playing. Okay, so I lost my train of thought here. Hold on. We got this. So if the Rams can avoid giving up a touchdown, it would go a long way, I think, for the confidence of this young defense going into Philly Week 3 without letting a team get into the end zone. So do I anticipate that would leak into the Philly game? Well, I can only hope. And you know what? I think this defense is better than it was last year, even in the playoffs. So, I mean, obviously you got to kind of gel a little bit. We'll see what the corners are doing and all that stuff. We got a lot of weird mixed up action going on there. But ultimately, I think that the ability to go into a Week 3 game without having anybody score a touchdown on you, obviously that would be good news. I don't want to get too ahead of myself. Obviously, we have a whole 4 quarters to play against the Tennessee Titans. And Cam Ward coming in on in their home opener, obviously, that would be, something to be a little hyped for. So you got that. Also, second-year head coach Brian Callahan, second game quarterback Cam Ward with the number 1 overall pick. That could really become a solid combo. Callahan did serve as the Bengals offensive coordinator for the previous 5 years, which does mean that the Rams did face him in the Super Bowl when he was with the Bengals and lost to the LA Rams, obviously, which is awesome. Some milestones we are checking out in this game. Matthew Stafford, he did become the 10th player in NFL history to throw for 60,000 yards. That football went to Puka Nacua. That was a cool little subtle moment there where, Matthew didn't make a big deal out of it, but he did kind of mention to Puka, he's like, I'm glad that ball went to you, which I think is absolutely awesome. I think the respect is very, very clear there. It was on a little swing route, so nothing too crazy, but that was the one that pushed him over. Absolutely love it. Matthew Stafford is now 1,307 yards behind Dan Marino, 2,738 behind Matt Ryan. So could absolutely slip into 8th place in NFL history by the end of the season. 7th place right now is Aaron Rodgers, who is just 245 behind Phillip Rivers for 6th place. So could be hitting that mark as early as this week. So a little shift there. Rodgers to 6 and Rivers to 7. We'll see what happens. And then, of course, Stafford does have a few yards to catch up to Mr. Phillip Rivers up there as well. And for whatever it's worth to anybody out there, Jared Goff will in all likelihood pass Jim Kelly for all-time passing yards this week. Matthew Stafford does need just 1 touchdown pass to tie Bob Waterfield with 97 touchdowns thrown in Rams history, meaning 4 more for 100 Rams passing touchdowns for number 9. Puka Nacua, wide receiver, needs 58 receiving yards to pass Carroll Dale for 18th most in Rams history. Needs 1 touchdown to tie for 44th, and 2 to tie for 38th, and 3 to tie for 32nd. So as far as the touchdowns go, he is making his way on up. 3 puts him into 32, though. He's obviously becoming one of the best wide receivers this team's ever seen. Absolutely love to see it. Tight end Tyler Higbee, 2 touchdowns shy of tying Flipper Anderson for 13th most in Rams history, so right now sitting at that 14 slot. K-Dub, Kyron Williams, he gained 15th overall. He got into 15th all-time in rushing yards in Rams history, passing Cleveland Gary in Week 1, so we got that one notched out. He needs 1 rushing touchdown to tie Roman Gabriel and Dick Hayner for 10th most in Rams history. 1 to tie for 10th most. That's absolutely incredible. Absolutely love it out of K-Dub. And first Rams running back to have at least 2,500 career rushing yards since Todd Gurley. And I don't know if that stat is necessarily anything to kind of blow your mind off your whole torso or anything, but I think it's interesting that we've had a good chunk of backs, and none of them have really stuck. But this LA Rams team, our history shows that we have that we're pretty sick at finding running backs, and Kyron Williams certainly fits that bill as well. Josh Cardion Wayne, we've got he's 74 of 80 all time, which, by the way, I didn't know that. That's crazy. I know that he's only played in 1 year and 1 game, but that's awesome. Those are sick percentages here. And currently second best kicking percentage in Rams history behind kicker Matt Gay. And that's with a minimum 3 attempts. We did have a couple guys come in and just hit like 2, and then they were out of here. So minimum 3 attempts is second best for Josh Carty. Absolutely love that. Super, super cool stuff. Some former Rams who are now playing football for the Tennessee Titans. We've got quarterback Brandon Allen, played some He had some inactive stretches for the Rams there, sitting on the bench, which is cool. Wide receiver, Van Jefferson. The first touchdown pass from Matthew Stafford as a Ram went to Van Jefferson. He is a bench, not a starter for the Titans, but he definitely does get some reps. Defensive end, Sebastian Joseph Day. Absolutely love that. SJD, he's awesome. Punter, Johnny Hecker. Incredible guy, incredible punter. Probably the best guest on Dude Perfect history. So we got a bunch of stuff going on there. We also have linebacker coach Frank Bush, as well as special teams coordinator John Fossil. Bones, man. Coach Bones. Absolutely love to see that, man. That was really cool. Actually, John Fossil's father, Jim, he was the first Super Bowl ring I ever saw in person. It was Rams at Broncos. I think that was the 2018. Yeah, it was the snow game. And then so his dad was there, and it was really cool. I have a picture somewhere. If I find it, I don't know if I can, but if I find it, I'll put it on screen for you. It was really cool. He had it he put his arm on it, and it's like he sees Super Bowl rings, like, yo, awesome, man. That was really, really cool. But good stuff there. And then also, I just wanted to, as I was looking through like the coaches and the roster of the Tennessee Titans, I saw a job title that kind of stuck out to me, and I wanted to pass it along to you, which was Tom Jones is the assistant to the head coach. Shout out my Office fans. All right, let's head into the breakdown here. Matchup, Rams offense going against that Titans defense. In total offense, Rams sitting kind of middle of the pack right now, 17th overall. In the Titans defense, 18th as far as total yards given up. Passing the football, Rams a top 10 unit, 224 from Matthew Stafford and the gang, while the Titans defense is a 12 overall unit. They gave up 166 last week. Rushing the football, Rams in the bottom portion here, 24th overall with just 72 ground yards last week. The 151 given up by the Titans put them in 26th. Average points being put up. Rams just scored the 14. That's 23rd overall, and then the Titans gave up 20 to the Broncos. That's tied for 14th. Third down conversions, Rams are absolutely killing this, especially through the air, 53.8, tied for 5th. And the Titans gave up 40, which is tied for 13th. So obviously, it's one game. These averages are not going to be as telling as we maybe want them to be quite yet, but they'll start to settle into themselves. We talked about that a lot last year, where the Rams defense was just giving up a bunch of yards, and the averages never really kind of settled in. But if you chunk it out and then take out like the back portion of the season and look what the Rams defense did, one of the best units in the NFL. And I think that's what you need to look for. Is you don't need to look at a 17-game average. Let's look at a 5-game average. You know what I mean? Like, what about those final 5 games, and what were we looking at there? Because I think that tells you a little bit more about who you are today. So obviously, we only have one game to look at. You are only as good as your last game. Rams won. Rams defense looked awesome. So, I mean, a lot of that. We're talking about the Rams offense right now, but either way, it was a good game plan, I think. And then for the offensive side, too, I think just doing enough to get it done. I think that Matthew Stafford missing training camp, I think is something that we kind of felt a little bit. And also, Rams don't play anybody in preseason, anything like that, so this really was the first game action that anybody was getting. Titans did a really decent job against Denver, honestly, but it also feels like the Rams come in with a more powerful offense. They did pick off Bo Nix twice, but only got him for just the 1 sack. And then they had the 3 turnovers there. Opposing players to keep our eyes on, a little bit of a 3 to see on the offensive or the other sideline. We're going to start with Jeffrey Simmons, an absolute physical beast. Definitely a guy who has the ability to wreck any given play, so certainly somebody to watch out for. With the injury concerns on the Rams' interior offensive line as well, this is certainly a player to keep our eyes out for. So Jeffrey Simmons, watch out for him. We'll kind of talk about that matchup here in just a moment. Roger McCreary, truly an incredible nickel in the league, man. McCreary can get it done in multiple ways. He was tied for on the Titans for 4th most tackles last week, and did have an interception on Nix. Very good player, though. I'm really high on McCreary. L'Jarius Sneed. Sure, Woods had the pick, but also 0 solo tackles. So Sneed, he'll get tasked with being outside a lot with Devontae Adams, and that's a pretty sick matchup, honestly. I think that's going to be really fun to watch. We saw it a lot last week with Devontae Adams going against Derek Stingley. Obviously, that was an incredible matchup. And I think J.B. Long kind of said it best of, like, for lack of a better term, you get Devontae kind of occupying Stingley most of the game, and then Puka Nacua was able to just feast on everybody. And sure, we want to be able to spread the ball around, but if a team's top corner can just be removed from the game, and we get to play with all of our other weapons who are super sick, I ain't mad about it, man. I ain't mad one bit. That's absolutely awesome, actually. My best matchup here, best one-on-one, I'm going to go with Coleman Shelton versus Jeffrey Simmons. That's a great matchup, honestly. It's certainly on Shelton to make sure that the protection is right so that Simmons doesn't do what he's capable of doing, which is just blowing up any given play. But watch for Shelton pointing and adjusting before, really any play. But look for it this week, and then also look to see where Simmons is lined up, because I think it'll coincide quite a bit. If Shelton's setting up and we got Simmons to his right, I think we're going to see those points. We're going to see some stuff of like, okay, this is what we're doing here. I think that's just going to be an all-game thing. Don't let Simmons wreck your game. And then, I'm not trying to talk bad about anybody here, but like, don't let Simmons wreck your game, and we should be fine. You know what I mean? Like, Titans they're fine, but they don't have anybody that truly like jumps off the page to me as like, this might be a problem, except for Jeffrey Simmons. So stop him, and I think that good things will happen. That's going to be on Coleman Shelton to get it done for sure. 3-C for the Rams side of the football here. We're going to start with wide receiver Puka Nacua. Obviously. Probably will come up a lot all season, in fairness. But I'm feeling really good about Puka's ability to absolutely go off this season, dude. 10 catches, 130 yards on the season. That's tied for first in receptions and second in yards. Has not had an opportunity to get into the end zone yet, but I do anticipate that that's on the way. I don't want to speak too soon here, man, but there's a crown out there that I feel like might have Puka Nacua's name on it, and I think would also help a lot of fans get over the last time that we had this happen and the situation that has unfolded this past offseason with a certain wide receiver who had an incredible 2021 season. I feel like if Puka Nacua was able to put that together, we'd be like, all right, it's all right. Listen, he knows what he's doing, I feel like it would kind of settle that a little bit, which is good news. Next up, running back Kyren Williams, K-Dub. The Titans gave up 151 yards on the ground last week to the Denver Broncos. Broncos are not a bad football team, but I do like our matchup here with Kyren Williams, especially if that offensive line can be okay. So I know we're banged up with the guards right now, but the Rams do have a chance to create some ground yards this week on the road, and it being that Kyren Williams is the clear-cut, carries getter, I don't anticipate that it should be a problem. As far as like being able to get first downs and actually have the ground game as a weapon to your disposal where we can open up the pass attack, which kind of feels like what the Rams are going to want to do this year. Just based on week one, obviously each game's its own identity. We can't base the whole season off of what we saw in week one. If we did that, I don't even remember last year's week one. No. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe. Maybe, man. I don't know. Wide receiver Davante Adams is what I'm going to go with last year on the 3-C. Probably did a little bit less than we wanted to last week, but showed a few plays of exactly why we got him. I did see, I did kind of mention that before, that JB Long mentioned that, like, if you can just occupy their best corner, Puka Nacua is over there, just going to absolutely destroy the souls of the secondaries all over the NFL. Because if you take your best secondary player and put them only on one guy, well, we have so many dudes. So I'm here for it, man. Obviously, we want to see the targets kind of even out. But honestly, too, I feel like I'm saying that because I keep on getting sucked into the internet world, which isn't real. But it's also like the targets were not that different. So we know that Puka Nacua absolutely went off. He only had one target that wasn't a caught football, where Davante Adams had 8 targets, 4 catches, but 11 targets for Puka and 10 catches. So only a 3-target difference. That's not enough for me to be like, we're broken. Matthew Stafford's broken. He only looks for Puka Nacua. It's broken. We're done. Davante might as well not even play. Like, I'm not here for that. I have seen some wild comments. That's all I'm saying. But either way, I do feel really good about Davante's addition. Even more so that I've seen him play. He had a couple of drops, but it was one of those where it's like, get those out of the way, dude. It's his first time playing with Matthew Stafford. Ain't worried about it. Don't do it in November, December, January, February, and we're fine. If you got to do it, you do it in September against a team in the Houston Texans that we were, able to come out on top of that game with. So I'm kind of here for it, man. Overall, I do think the Rams do lead the matchup when it comes to the Titans offense versus the Rams defense. I do feel really good about it. I'm hoping that the Rams can stop them to no touchdowns in this one. That feels like something you should be able to do against this team, but let's make no mistake, man. Cam Ward, very good player. You don't get picked number 1 on accident. They didn't draft him, and then they he's like holding his jersey on stage, and Brian Callahan's sitting in his office like, what? No, it wasn't supposed to be him. What do we do? That wasn't the case. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they got the guy they wanted. And he's got Calvin Ridley. I think that as the season goes on, that's going to become a really, really good combo is Cam Ward to Calvin Ridley. So good stuff there. Let's flip over to the other side here. This is the Rams defense going against that Titans offense. Titans on offense, 31st ranked in the NFL right now. The Rams 17th ranked defense overall. Passing the football, only 62 passing yards total for the Titans offense. That does include your sack yardage, 32nd in the NFL. Rams defense gave up 151. That is 9th in the league. Running the football just under the Rams' offensive output, 71 yards for the Titans. That puts them in 25th, one slot behind the Rams. Rams gave up 114. That is 20th in the NFL. Average points being put up, we've got 12 for the Titans last week on 4 field goals, 28th in the league. Rams gave up 9. That is 3rd in the NFL. And on third downs, 14.3 conversion percentage for the Titans against the Broncos last week. That is last in the NFL. The Rams gave up 22.2, which is 2nd in the NFL. Going against that Texans offense last week, which honestly, that's probably the most impressive part of this entire thing. I think that the Texans offense is really good. I think that they've got some really good players. Like I said, I know that they're down people, but to only give up less than a quarter, just barely over a fifth of your third downs, absolutely incredible. I think there was a 4th down conversion that was picked up, but you know what? It happens, dude. Broncos defense, by the way, is really good. PS2 and Bonito were absolutely on fire last week, and I think that the Rams can replicate that. Obviously, we don't have a PS2 in our secondary. He's probably the best corner in the league right now. Bonito, we can match that, though, with Jared Verse or Byron Young, who was killing it last week. Absolutely love to see that. But I do think that this is something replicatable by the Rams defense here. And then also, I'm going to kind of consider that Johnny Hekker is part of the defense. I don't know if I would consider him part of the offense, but he was still a total weapon, man. He had 8 punts for a total of 395 yards, only 47 return yards, put 2 inside the 20. And then Joey Sly, obviously, 4 for 4 on field goals. Certainly not an automatic because no one's automatic, but certainly a good kicking unit for Tennessee. So if they're lining up for a field goal, chances are at least solid that they'll get in there. But opposing players to watch on the Titans offense here. We've got we got wide receiver Calvin Ridley. He's coming off a 27-yard performance. We definitely expected some more, I would say. But he and Ward could become quite the combo as the season goes on. Ridley definitely has the talent to go off at any moment. And based on what we learned against the Texans, we don't even know who the Rams are going to be relying on to cover him. So that's good news. Next up, quarterback Cam Ward, rookie quarterback coming off of a 112 passing yard day, which obviously isn't awesome, but that's also on the road in his first ever NFL game against a solid team in the Denver Broncos. So not, to throw him out already. We can't use the word bust already. He's played one game and it was against a good team on the road. So home opener, obviously, that kind of changes some things, but he's got a game under his belt. Home opener could be, a little bit of vibes in there. Nissan Stadium. It's our job to make sure that doesn't happen, and to make sure, but that he kind of just doesn't do it against us. You know what I mean? But obviously, rookie coming in, it's hard to evaluate, especially a Rams defense that has a lot of movement, a lot of different people playing in different positions. Cam Curl coming up, Lake coming up, corners blitzing. Tank getting a sack, stuff like that. It is very difficult to game plan against this Rams defense, but also we've got one game of tape on Cam Ward, so hard to also get his tendencies in. Next up here, we'll go with running back Tony Pollard. We know that the Titans' offensive line is a weak spot for him, but it's also unclear whether Pollard will start to gain some steam at any point, so that could absolutely happen. He is certainly a talented running back, former Dallas Cowboy, but the Rams defense improved against the run. This is a solid test number 2 before heading up to Philly in what is obviously a really good ground attack. And then the best one-on-one in this one, I'm going to give it to Nate Landman versus Cam Ward. Landman showed up big in week 1, obviously. He showed us all why his teammates named him captain. He's going against a rookie quarterback and helping helping put the defense in position against a rookie quarterback could be really fun to watch. If Cam Ward makes any adjustments and seeing what Landman does and seeing if he's, shifting some things around based on what he thinks that Cam Ward's pulling, I think it's going to be really fun to watch. But let's see. Let's see if Ward can handle what this Rams defense is throwing at him, dude. I'm kind of excited about it. I'm interested to see what he's got coming in his first home game, honestly. Against a good defense, man. This defense is sick. Could absolutely pitch a shutout. I think that's like obviously best case scenario is pitch a shutout. But I think at worst case scenario, I mean, what's the cap on the points the Titans are going to score in this one? 17? It kind of feels that way, you know what I mean? And maybe I'm not trying to down them. I'm just trying to hype us, you know what I mean? It feels like, though, the way that the Titans looked in week 1, this Rams defense should be able to do a good job at kind of putting a lid on that. 3 to see for the defensive side. We're going to start with Jared Verse. Probably makes the list most weeks. I think that's going to be pretty standard. But going against first-year Titan in Dan Moore Jr., Giga Maggies. But he has plenty of starts with the Steelers in the previous, I think it was 5 years he was with the Steelers. So plenty of game action there. Tough task blocking Jared Verse. And also, left guard, the Peter Skoronskis of the world are going to need to get his fair share of reps as well against the defensive player of the year candidate in Jared Verse. That gold shield on the chest, by the way, so sick, man. It looks awesome. But I did really love how Jared Verse was not just playing edge, that sometimes we'd see Josiah Stewart on the edge and Jared Verse inside, which I think was very creative, very awesome, and just shows, I think, a lot about the growth of Jared Verse and his knowledge of the defense, his ability to kind of know what's going on and attack in different ways. And then I think personally it's really, really good because Josiah Stewart, you tell him, hey, you set that edge, and you tell Jared Verse, go get the quarterback, man. Go get him, especially against a mobile guy like C.J. Stroud. It was one of those where Jared Verse didn't have to do the like, oh, where is he going? Is he going to spin out of this? Whatever. It's just go get him. Chase him down, man. I absolutely love that, especially slipping him just a little bit more inside. That creates such a weird mismatch. Josiah Stewart looks awesome. Byron Young looks awesome. I don't know, man. I'm feeling real cool about the way that they're deploying Jared Verse already this season. Next up, safety Cam Curl led the Rams in solo tackles in week 1 and was in a lot of places a lot of the time, just everywhere. Finding his place in the Rams defense for sure. Definitely flying around the secondary. Feels like Cam Curl's gonna get, some INTs off of some sweet reads. It just kind of feels inevitable at this point. So I'm looking for that to happen. I'm excited for it, man, for sure. And then next up, I'm going to give it to Josiah Stewart, that edge rusher. Color me surprised how the Rams used him. I'll be completely honest. I kind of just talked about it with Jared Verse, but the fact that Stewart was getting so many reps in a week 1 setting, I think goes a long way for what he's looking like and what he's showing, how much trust he's earning from this Rams staff. Obviously, you absolutely love to see it. But Verse inside with Stewart playing the edge, absolutely love it. Verse can just absolutely tee off on somebody. We'll know within the next few weeks if this is just a matchup thing that we saw with the Rams against the Houston Texans, or if this is something that they're looking to get Verse into different situations. I do think it is the latter, but it certainly could be a matchup situation where they're trying to mix up with the depending on who the opponent is, what the positions are looking like, all that good stuff. But either way, it feels like Stewart has made quite the impression and is getting reps as a rookie to show for it. Something we really don't see from the Rams very often is rookies getting a lot of reps. Simply put, we just don't really see it. So Josiah Stewart, that is a really good thing to kind of just see that the rookies out there get a lot of reps. Seemingly, I actually have not seen snap percentages. I'm pretty sure he got more than Hampton, which, if that's happening, man, that's a good sign for Stewart. So good stuff. We'll go and end it on I'll give you a score prediction here, and then we'll get into our fan quesos. But score prediction here, I'm feeling really good about this one, man. It feels like the Titans are if they're good this year, it feels like it's going to be mid to late season. The fact that we get the Titans early in this one, Cam Ward's second game, offensive line just not really gelling yet, anything like that. Obviously, this is the first year, like I said, for Dan Moore playing that left tackle spot. So it's a lot of mixing up right now, a lot of learning for the Tennessee Titans, especially on the offensive side of the football with head coach Brian Callahan. Kind of running the show a little bit, but Cam Ward, obviously, game 2, lots to learn, lots for us to learn about ourselves as well. But I'm going to go ahead and say that I feel good about this game. I think that I'm going to go with a 24-6 score prediction. That's not normally something I do, score predictions, but I feel like people want them, so we're going to do that. my camera just stopped recording, and we're going to head to Fan Quesos. That is next right here, Ram Showcase. Welcome back in, Ram Showcase. I am Sheriff Joe Bags. For more action on your game preview, by the way, of course, join myself as well as Tuna from the First and Tuna podcast. We will be talking Rams Titans on our pregame, or it's not pregame, that too, but on Friday we'll be 7 a.m. live. We'll be on the First and Tuna podcast YouTube channel as well as the Ram Showcase Facebook page, so check us out there. And then on the Ram Showcase YouTube channel as well as Facebook page, we also go live ahead of the game when I'm driving out to go catch the action. So join me there as well. We will start doing giveaways. I'm not sure exactly when those are going to begin, and you also need to think of questions. So we'll get there. Let's get into our fan quesos, though. If you'd like to ask a fan queso, that is always an option for you. I do post on the Ram Showcase Facebook page. I also share that to my personal Facebook, so you can comment there. And then we also make a post on YouTube. If there's anywhere else that you would prefer that be posted, let me know, and we can certainly make that happen. We're going to go ahead and start with Brett's over at the Facebook page, though, with Tutu getting paid like a wide receiver 2 or 3, but Whittington just fitting in better with what McVay asks of the wide receivers. How do you see the wide receiver 3 position shaping out as by season's end? You're absolutely right. First of all, I think Tutu is his contract is rather interesting, considering too that he had 1 catch, 4 yards, not a lot of action in week 1. I would anticipate that obviously kind of works itself out over the course of the year, but I also do think that Whittington, like you kind of mentioned, he fits better with what McVay likes to do and what he asks his wide receivers to do. So I kind of think that Whittington will eventually slip into being that third guy and kind of more of a solidified role. With Tutu Atwell, I think that he's going to be somewhat gadgety in a sense. It just feels like Sean McVay doesn't know what to do with players like that. It feels like he doesn't have any clue. Like Tavon Austin didn't know how to use him. Deshaun Jackson didn't know how to use him. He wanted out. He was like, no, dude, I'm done. So. And then also then Tutu Atwell, where it just seems like it's like, yeah, we feel good about Tutu, right? Like we feel like he's a good player, but hasn't had any real games. Like even Tavon had those games. I mean, that was pre-McVay, obviously, but had those games where it was like, this guy's insane. This guy's great. Deshaun Jackson, we know, obviously he's had his moments there, but when it's under a Sean McVay system, it feels like it's not there. So I don't know, man. Maybe it's a learning curve for Sean, and maybe that's something that we'll kind of see as the season goes on, is that maybe Tutu will kind of get used in ways that make more sense, I think is how I want to word that. I think that feels right, but I would say I do think that Whittington, if I had to guess right now, I would say that I think Whittington kind of slips in and becomes more of that wide receiver 3 than Tutu does by the end of the season. I think that's going to be, we'll see it on snap percentages for sure. Edwin, emphasis on the win. So glad the lives are back before the games again. Nice, dude. I also, I forgot to reach out to you, man. I was going to tell you because I was editing the podcast when you dropped your fan quesos last week, and I was like, oh, he missed it. So good to have you here, man. Yeah. Number 1 from Edwin. What was your biggest takeaway from week 1? My biggest takeaway from week 1 is that this defense is still so sick, and Nate Landman was a great addition. That was like my number 1 takeaway. And also, I would say that Coleman Shelton, I think that addition is massive. I think that Coleman Shelton, he had some plays and some situations where it's like, oh yeah, this is going to be nice. This is going to be real nice. You know what I'm saying? Number 2 from Edwin. Which players on offense and defense impressed you the most? Nate Landman and Coleman Shelton, I think. that's kind of it, man. I think that Landman, I think part of it too, and I don't like to be like, I told you so. I said this a long time ago all the time. I don't like to be that person. But I'm just glad that it's finally like kind of unfolding and that I'm not wrong again, because I'm wrong sometimes, dude. I said that what was his name? White. I'm blanking on his name. The corner we had last year, I thought he was gonna be a sick addition, dude. Just didn't work out. Was not. I thought that Jonah Jackson was going to be an incredible addition on the offensive line. Didn't work out. So it happens, man. But Landman, I'm glad that one's working out. We needed it. We needed it to work out. We needed a inside linebacker who can just be the leader of the team. I also kind of like that he did the 1-2-3 Rams thing before the final drive. I don't know what it is that I liked about that in the huddle. He was like, Rams on 3, 1-2-3, and everybody's on Rams. It's like, hell yeah. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know what it was about that. I was like, I like that. I don't know. But then Coleman Shelton, I think it's very obvious that he is back in action. We don't have a rookie starting in that spot anymore. So good stuff. What play do you think was the most difficult? The Kobe Durant interception, the Landman Falcon punch, or the Fisk recovery? I think it was definitely the Fisk recovery, just being able to take it away from the Texans player and roll over to protect the ball. That was clutch. First of all three great options, dude. Durant, I thought that they were going to call that incomplete. Love to see the land shark making a sweet play to take that ball away. There's like that still shot where the guys, like the receivers, got the ball, and it's like, this was an interception. I love that kind of stuff, man. So Kobe, obviously, got to give him his flowers on that one. Landman doing the punch. I don't know if I'm necessarily surprised by that, or even if it was most difficult, because that's kind of just what he does. He's a guy who and he didn't even go for the tackle, which I think is absolutely incredible, just for the ball. All ball, dude. Just, that was sick. But I would agree with you, man. That Fisk recovery, I think, is underrated. The way that his body was kind of like going one direction and he scooped it. And then you're right. The way he grabbed it and like rolled away from everybody was like, there's no question who's got this football. Absolutely love it, dude. The celebration was incredible. Landman going straight to the sideline to celebrate with his homies. Love that stuff, dude. So, yeah, I do agree with you, though. That Fisk recovery, top-notch, dude. Top-notch. And last one here from Edwin. What kind of challenges do you think the Titans will bring this week? And who scores the first touchdown? There was more in there. All right, let's see. So what kind of challenges do you think the Titans bring this week? Is, first of all, not knowing exactly what their offense is. That's hard, man. We're a very different defense than the Denver Broncos, so I think it's hard to look at what they did last week and take a whole bunch of it and throw it into this week. You have a second game quarterback in Cam Ward getting his, early action. I think he's like the 5th or 6th rookie in Titans history to ever start a game, and it's like the first one since week 1, since like McNair or something like that. I was reading the Titans website this week. Yeah, it's some interesting stuff on Cam Ward, man. But I would say that's the biggest challenge this week is who is Cam Ward, and when's he going to start settling into being who Cam Ward is? Is it this week? I still feel like it's a little too early, but we've seen crazier things happen where rookies can come in and start, just putting it together. And then who scores the first touchdown for the Rams? I'm going to always stick with K-Dub, I think. That's like my stand-in answer. It just feels like the Rams get to the 7, and then he does a little stutter, finds a hole, and just shoots it, It's awesome. Absolutely love it. And you said Adams gets into the end zone, which I would not be mad about, man. Not be mad about that at all. 1 touchdown pass so far from Matthew Stafford. That went to Davis Allen, the general. Absolutely love that. That's cool. Next one here from Tyler. How happy are you with this linebacker core, particularly Landman? Because I'm stoked on this linebacker group we have. Yeah, very is how I would answer that question. Landman, I've been excited that the Rams have signed Landman since I like really looking into him. Like June, I was like, yo, this is gonna be awesome. Maybe even a little bit before that, but I'm here for it, man. I like Spates a whole bunch. I think he's an incredible player. And then I also, I guess the depth, I'm fine, I guess. Troy Reader, obviously he had that big holding call, which, we all lost our minds about, I'm sure. And then Brolak, who I think is a really solid depth piece as well. But also those guys aren't really playing on the defense. They're kind of teams guys. So I would say if we're going to be talking about the linebacker core, Landman and Spates, love that duo, dude. Love that duo. It's super, super sick. Absolutely awesome. And also, like, as we see these guys play, it's like, yeah, Pooh is not going to make this. Like, I don't know. I still hear people being like, we made a mistake. It's like, what? We're sick. We won. What are you talking about? He's on a practice squad. Let's see here. This one coming from Shannon. Why does staff only target Puka? He doesn't. I mean, but also, let me answer that by asking you this, Shan. Puka's so dope. He is so sick all the time. It's like if he wasn't getting targets, we'd be mad about that. You know what I mean? So, I guess just take what you want to be mad about. Are you getting mad because Puka's getting all the targets and we've got other guys like Devontae and Witt and Higbee and all these guys? Or are we going to be mad that Devontae and Witt and Higbee and all these guys are getting all the targets while Puka Nacua is absolute monster and destroying souls out here, and he's not getting targets? So I feel like there's no winning in this situation, but also I would challenge that by saying that he only had 3 more targets than Devontae Adams, and I think that will be kind of the course as the season goes on. I think it's going to be Puka 1, Devontae right here, and then everybody else. You know what I mean? So I do see what you mean by him always going to Puka, but it's working. Like, why would you not? You know what I mean? Like, 10 catches, 130 yards, keep going to Puka. In fact, go to Puka more. You know what I mean? He's always open, so why not? You know what I mean? So that's kind of how I see that one, man. I see exactly what you're saying, but I do think it's like, yeah, of course. Yeah, give him the football. He's like the sickest football player in the league right now, man. He's so awesome. And he's all like, got the Band-Aid on and stuff like that. Drew Nakua posted videos of him with the Band-Aid on. That guy goes so hard, dude. If you don't follow him on socials, you're doing it wrong, man. That guy's probably the biggest fan that I've known. The most hardcore fan, I think. And I've just, look at where I'm sitting. I've met some really cool people, man. Anyway. Next one here over on the YouTube channel. This one coming from Paul. Is the Rams O-line a concern now health-wise? I mean, certainly, at least a little bit. Obviously, we have the A.J. Jackson story that's going to probably be with us all year long with those blood clots. We'll kind of see how that's going on, but I think that he played incredible. So, obviously not a concern at the moment, but can be at any time, in fairness. Obviously, both guard spots, that is something to be concerned about in different regards. Especially, you got Jeffrey Simmons this week. You got Jalen Carter the following week. After that, the Colts, who actually look pretty decent. We'll see, how their next 2 games go. We'll look at them. 49ers, who I do feel like the Rams should be able to beat, but also division game against Shanahan. You never know about those games. So, but yeah, it is certainly a concern, but I do think that these issues that we're dealing with right now, at least we know that they aren't long-term issues. So we should be okay to get through these and get healthy, get less healthy, then get healthy again. You know what I mean? So it's a long season. We're going to get beat up. But everybody's a football player. We got to play football. Next one here come from Payo. Situation. Sean McVay calls you asking to add a play to the playbook. What is a play you remember from Rams history pre-McVay era you would like to see? Sean says he also loves the show in this scenario. Thank you, Sean. I do appreciate that. Let's see. If I had to pick a play from before the McVay era. God, that's so hard. Oof. I'm also not like a play guy. I'm not out here, yelling, why bananas and stuff. I'm just like, that guy did a good job there. I don't know all the lingo. I'm more of a storyteller than a film guy, I guess. But I would say, man, that's tough. That's really tough. I would say some of the fake punts that we used to see from Hecker. There were some good ones in there, man. Chase Reynolds got one in the middle of the field one time that was absolutely sick. I don't even remember who the opponent was, but I can picture it right now, the play at least. There was also one, ooh, man, Benny Cunningham had a good one. Man, I would almost say that, but I know that's not even the right side of the football that we're talking here. Tough one. Hope that's not my car alarm, because it's just going to go off until this is over. So, it wasn't, so I'm going to turn it off. Next one here from Payo Time. I didn't answer your question well. I'm sorry about that. We're moving on, though. Seeing a lot of Troy Reader and Colby Parkinson frustration from fans. Do you think either of them getting a game ball in the next 5 games is likely? Love the show. Thank you, Payo. No. I would say either of these guys getting a game ball is unlikely in the next 5 weeks. Troy Reader, because he's a special teams guy, I feel like if he maybe got a block or a touchdown on teams, then that would be a conversation. Colby Parkinson, I don't know, man. That fumble, I think that people are being really harsh on Parkinson for that fumble, but look at the way that play played out. I think that anybody would have fumbled that football. I know that's not a popular thing to say, but I think that Higbee probably would have fumbled. Like, I think Davis would have probably fumbled. Like, who knows about Terrence, because we didn't see him, I have my own conspiracy theories about that he is really, really, really dope, but we're saving him until the Philly game. It's just my own conspiracy theory. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, I think sometimes we forget that the other players are paid too. So the Troy Reader holding penalty, that was terrible. Shouldn't have done it. Whatever. It's over. Can't just because we get mad about it doesn't mean it'll go away. And then the fumble, obviously, that's very unfortunate timing and stuff like that. And I guess I just don't understand why we were using all of our tight ends except for Ferguson, and Higbee had no catches. So that's kind of where my brain's going on it. Not necessarily mad at Colby, but mad at we have better guys than this. Nothing against Colby, but we have better guys than this. I think 3, if I had to be specific. So take that for what you will. But no, I don't think that either of them get game balls. Rams house. Whose house? What is your Joe Stradamus moment of your career? I have this answer already. I still remember in the Super Bowl season when Woods barely got targeted against Arizona in Week 4. He showed his frustrations on the field. That week, as we were heading into the Seahawks Thursday night game, you said on your show, I bet we see Woods have a day and we'll find out later that he talked to Sean McVay about being used more. After he exploded against Seattle, McVay revealed that Woods came into his office and said the very thing that you predicted. So good. Fire example. Incredible. Don't remember that one, but I'll take your word for it. I believe you. And mine was about 10 days before the 2014 NFL draft, where I woke up and I posted on Facebook and I said, I don't know why, but I feel like Todd Gurley becomes a Ram. The reason that was so wild is because Trey Mason and Zach Stacy were on the roster at the time. Definitely didn't really need a running back. I thought we were going to go Andres Pete. That's who I was kind of mocking back when I did those. That I was kind of mocking Andres Pete coming to the Rams, and then Todd Gurley got drafted, and that was what? I was blown away. I blew myself away. I blew my own mind, dude. That is one of the craziest things. That one to me is okay, that's nuts, right? We had no real reason to get Todd Gurley. I'm glad we did. That would have sucked to get hurdled by Gurley instead of watching him hurdle dudes. So that is a good thing for sure. But that was probably one of my. But yours is a killer example, man. But yeah, I do I do remember thinking that. I just don't remember it unfolding entirely. That's all. So good stuff, dude. Good stuff. What would it be like sharing a room with Nate Landman? Ooh, dude, we would. First of all, he'd have to get his mustache back. We'd be the Mustache Bros. We'd have to think of a cooler nickname than that, but it was something we would do. Oof, man. Landman, I think he's just he would just be watching film all the time. And then I'd be off to the side being like, what'd you see there? What about that? It's okay, so if he would have done that though, what would you have done? Stuff like that. And he would eventually be like, can I just study, sir? I'm okay. What about that? Yeah, I could be okay. Pop in headphones or something. I feel like he would get annoyed with me because I would be just too excited, to break down film with Nate Landman. He wouldn't like it. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe he would be like, this is the coolest guy of all time. I feel like Kobe Durant would say that. Me and Kobe would be best friends. I firmly believe that. I totally believe that. I feel like our personalities, we'd hang out all the time. Anyway, that's not the question. Payo time, back in action. Says, I see a lot of Rams fans annoyed that the Rams don't win in dominating fashion. I'm always on team a win's a win. However, what would your reaction be if the Rams beat the Titans 6-3 on Sunday? Big fat dubs celebrating, dude. Don't care. We can win 2-0 all year long. Wins are wins, dude. Dubs are dubs. This is the fantasy football world creeping into our business too much, man. I don't care who scores. Don't care. Davis Allen scores a touchdown. Hell yeah, Rams scored a touchdown. I have other people that are like, we could have gone to Devontae or Puka. I don't care. It's a Rams touchdown, dude. Who cares? Rams win. Rams touchdowns. That's what I'm here for. All of it. Yeah, blowout wins are cool, man. But I also feel like the Rams do kind of just play their opponent. You know what I mean? They don't run it up on them just because they can. They kind of just okay, we got a 2-possession lead here. Let's just take a long drive. You know what I mean? I feel like that's kind of what happened. So, yeah, I realize that the Rams aren't dominating, but dubs are dubs. And however you can get them, man. So, yeah, if the Rams beat the Titans 6-3 on Sunday, I'm celebrating. I'm just sitting here talking about how sick that was. Simply put. And I assume you mean 3 safeties, right? Nice. All right. Rams house. Whose house? What was the most surprising to you in the Rams-Texans game? Ooh, that's good. Most surprising to me. I would actually go back to the deployment of Verse and Stewart on that right side of the defense. I did think that Ursary was slotted to play left tackle, and then I don't know what happened. He played right. None of my business, really, and we won't see the Texans again for 4 more years, so it doesn't matter anyway. He'll be a vet by the time we play him again, so it doesn't matter. But I would say that my biggest surprise was Stewart getting so many reps and being in with Verse slipping on the inside. I think I saw it, as soon as I saw it, I was like, yo, Shula, Chris, what are we doing out here, dude? I always say Chris, the name Chris, like the old Dr. Pepper Kiss commercials. Do you guys remember that? Chris! That's how I do it. Probably no one gets that reference. It's fine. I say a lot of references that I feel like I'm the only one that gets. You gotta stop doing that. That's not good business. It's not good radio. You know what I mean? To say things that only I get. But yeah, that's definitely where I'm the most surprised, I would say. I like that one. And the final one here, coming from Sports Fan V8D Vaded. Sports Fan Vaded. With the Puka picture. Love to see that. It says, do you think cutting Cooper Kupp was a good decision? I'll say this. I don't think it was a bad decision. If it's a good or bad decision, ultimately comes to how he performs, what kind of impact he has on the Seahawks. Also, and like has to go, hand in hand with how the Rams wide receiver room is performing as well. I didn't want Cooper Kupp to leave. I like Cooper Kupp. Super Cooper, man. I mean, that's the 2021 Cooper Kupp is a superhero, unstoppable. But I also understand that this team is willing to move on from people a little bit earlier than maybe we want them to, which is kind of why I'm thinking it's like this could be the final year for Higbee. This could be, like we got guys that's like, okay, like especially Higbee because we got, Ferguson, Davis Allen looks really good. So it's like, yeah, this could be the final one where it's like, even if Higbee wants to stay, it's like, yeah, man, we got Ferg though. Like, and so that's kind of what I'm seeing right here. But do I think it was a good decision? Maybe not, but I guess we'll just kind of see how his season goes and how our season goes. Because if he's going up in Seattle and he's just not really doing a whole lot, he gets like 400 or 500 yards on the season, but the Rams are, 13-win team heading to the playoffs and Devontae Adams at like 1,300 yards, then yeah, it was a good decision. You know what I mean? I think that the Rams wide receiver room got better. That's what I can say confidently. That really the only change was Kupp for Adams, and I think that we improved. So take that for what you will. I think Devontae Adams in this offense alongside Puka Nacua makes more sense. I think that when you look at Cooper Kupp and his play style as well as Puka Nacua, you don't need two of the same guy, especially when one of those guys is younger and seemingly better at doing it, So as far as the Cooper Kupp stuff goes, I didn't want him gone. I like Cooper Kupp. I'll always, kind of have those Cooper Kupp memories. I've got signed Cooper Kupp stuff that I'm not obviously looking to get rid of, anything like that. But ultimately, I would say, players come and go. The Rams are forever. We love Cooper Kupp, but I wish nothing bad for him or anything. But he's a rival now, so I kind of do hope he sucks at least while he's playing in Seattle. You know what I mean? Like, I also Nathan came in and was like, I hope he kills us. It's like, I don't agree with that. He's not on us anymore. It's like players come and go. The Rams are forever. I really do feel that way too. It's like, if you're here, I got your back. Rams who are here, I got their back. If you leave, all right, see you. Like, okay, bye. That's the Tre'Davious White. Got it. Jeez, I don't know why that just came. We're going to end on that, I think, is what we're going to do. At Sheriff Joe Bags, at Ram Showcase, ramshowcase.com. It's where you follow along on socials. You want to catch even more Sheriff Joe Bags into your eyeballs and ear holes, then you're going to want to check out Tuna and the Sheriff. That is live 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 7 a.m. LA time. That is on the First to Tuna Podcast YouTube channel, as well as the Ram Showcase Facebook page. Links in the description. You can also check out the audio versions, although those do come out a little bit later because they can't be live. So we do pump those out just a skosh later. But check us out there, man. It's absolutely good times. And, of course, we'll be live again ahead of the game. This is an early kickoff, so we'll be getting out of here a little early, talking some Rams football, taking on questions. We'll be talking about the inactives, all that good business. So thanks for joining me, man. This is absolutely awesome. I love that. I love the in-season stuff. And also, it's going to go way too fast. So it's only week 2. Hang on to this, dude. Hang on to this stuff tight. It's going to be week 18 before you know it, and we're going to be missing these times right now. That's all. I'm feeling sentimental today. I went all whole thing on Tuna and the Sheriff. It's a thing. That is going to do it for me. I am Sheriff Joe Baggs. This has been Rams Showcase on Sports War Radio and the Fan-Sided Network. For those of you who aren't Rams fans, our thoughts and prayers are with you. For those of you who are Rams fans, thank you so much for watching, and go Rams.